Hi there, it's Web McMaster here. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you just how you can install the contact form on your page using the Divi theme or the Divi Builder, and just some of the features, the cool different bits and pieces you can actually add to that form. Now, I've actually got a blank page here we're going to use. I've just created it before I hit record on this video, and I'm going to head into use the Divi Builder, and we're going to go take a look at the actual contact form and just basically what you can do with it. Okay, so we're going to start this from scratch, and we're just going to, once this so that happens for whatever reason, it's going to choose this layout here. Now, I'm going to add in a basic contact form. I'm just going to leave it there for a second. Now, what you see here is actually a lot of the work is already done. If all you're looking for is a basic contact form, people put their name, email, that sort of thing in there. Now, if I click the module settings and bring these over here, we'll start by going down and just sort of like starting off on this main section here. So first of all, we've got the title. So maybe you want to have send us a message and the success message. So when someone does send the form, you can say, thank you for sending us your message. And the submit button can say go or something like that. So straight away, we've got a few basic customization. Now, if I head down here to email, we can actually pop in the email address and what this to go to. I'm not going to be too concerned about that right now. But one thing I will actually let you know is you can dictate how the message pattern works. So basically, I'm not going to get into that right now. We might swing back to that. We're going to add in a few forms and fields and basically go from there. Now, the redirect is handy because it means if you've someone sent you a message and you want to send them around to maybe an email sign up or something like that, you can add in a redirect URL so that they get sent to another page. Also, if you're doing ads and tracking messages, this is a great way for you to add a pixel to a page which is designed to only show up after someone submitted a message. So another way of just tracking how successful your ads are going and how many people are actually contacting you via those ads by popping in a URL there. Now, one of the awesome features that I love about this form, especially these days, is they have this basic captcha with a little math formula, and for a while it was pretty good. But a lot of my clients who I built sites on using Divi started to complain about spam emails, and this basic captcha is basically, it's been outsmarted now. So I'm going to turn off the basic captcha, and we're going to use a spam protection service. So I turn that on, and we've got a recaptcha here. Now it says here to select an account. Now I actually don't have an account here, so what I can do is add one. So the way that works, so we've got recaptcha here, a recaptcha 3 account. We've got to put in our account name, the site key, and the secret key. Now you probably don't actually have that, so we actually need to create one. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to open up a new tab. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to type in here Google recaptcha. You see here, we've got the recaptcha page here. I click on that, and I basically create my recaptcha here. So once I've clicked on that and gone to the Google recaptcha page, I'm going to head to admin console. And I'm going to click the little plus button up here to create. Now I'm going to call this one web designmarabara.com.au, which is basically the name of the website I'm using as the test site. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to use recaptcha version 3, add the same domain in there. I've got my email address in there. I'm going to accept the terms of service. I generally turn this off, but that's entirely up to you, just to check out that information, and I'm going to submit. You see here we get our site key and our secret key. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to click on back, and I'm going to paste just the account name here. I'm actually just going to pop that one in there, copy the site key, head back, paste in the site key, copy the secret key, pop back, and paste that one in there and submit. You see we now have a spam protection service, webdesignmarabara.com.au, and I can make it really beefed up or keep it about average, but that's going to be a pretty good way to protect us against spam on this particular form. Now, what's really cool is the functionality of this form. So I'm just going to tick that to save those changes and just go back in. Now I can start to add in new fields. So let's say I want to add in a phone field here. First of all, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to click Add New, call this field Phone, title it Phone. There's a few other things here like field options. It's a required field. I'm going to say no for this one. There's no minimum or maximum length necessarily. It's just a basic input field. Conditional logic, we'll look at that later. But right now, I want to head to Design, enter Layouts, and I want to turn this off full width. And click Tick. I'm going to move the phone up here next to the name. And this is where we start to take a bit more control over how this looks. I head into Name, hitting that cog button, back over to Design, under Layout, and I make that full width. Now we have a much neater looking form with the name at the top, phone and email, and the message, and go. So that's how you can create a basic form. Now, one thing I wanted to get into at this point here, which I'm actually going to bring up off screen for a minute, is that if I go over here into this message, under email, we do have the message pattern. So I've actually got a standard pattern I use, which I will include either in a blog post or in a link in the description below. If it's not in the description below, I will link to a blog post with it. But basically, I'm going to head into one section here. And you'll see if I paste this in place, I've got a little setup there. Now, the way this works is I type in some basic text, whatever I want there, but I actually have the field ID. So if I click on phone, the field ID is phone. So what I've actually got here next to the phone here is two percentage signs, the word phone, and then 2 percentage signs. And that actually shows that information on the page for me there. So another thing we can do is actually continue to add fields, but this allows you to take control of how the message is laid out, because sometimes some information may be missing by default, so it's good to add that in there. Or maybe you want to break things up by adding some lines in here or something like that, just to make it more interesting. It's completely up to you. But it's just a handy way for you to take more control over how the email looks when you receive it. But what we're going to do, we're going to add in some fields and just show you what's available. So I'm going to head into Add New Field. This field ID, first of all, I'm going to go to Field Options. So you see we've got a few fields here: Input Field, Email, Text Area. So Text Area, I believe, is the larger area, like the message. But we're going to go down to Checkboxes. So that way we can actually give it options. So if I head back up here to Field ID and the title, maybe I'll put something down here like I want to know about. And then under these field options, I'm going to say Facebook, Instagram, blogging. Now this, I'm not saying you should use this, but it's to show you basically what is available. Now, that's actually what I should have put in the title field, sorry. So what I want to know about, and I'll just put here, topic. So now I've got like a little tick box section here I can use. And there's a few little options here, such as link information. You can add in option links. You can move these around as well by clicking on the arrows. You can even duplicate or delete them altogether. Now this is a required field. I'm going to turn that off. And I'm just going to click OK there to head back to our main contact form settings. And under email here, if I want to, I can add in topic, %% topic. So you get the idea how that works. As you're adding in these fields, you can control the flow that way, or you can actually leave it blank and let it sort of lay things out automatically. It should lay out all the information, but I would do a test email to make sure it's working the way you want it to. So we're going to keep going and add in a few more fields here. So under field options, this time I'm going to go with radio buttons. So you can say, choose one. And what we're going to do is say choose one. And we've got our radio options here. So I'm going to say business and personal. So I've got this, a radio button is, with tick boxes, you can tick as many or as little as you like. With a radio button, you have to choose one or the other. I'm not going to make it a required form, but what I am going to do is go into conditional logic and enable that. So this is where we can actually choose if the form shows up in relation to other information on the form. So in relation to, I want to say all, I'm going to say I want to know about equals Instagram. So that's basically going to do that. Or I can have it set to any, which means if I have multiple rules, so if I have Instagram or maybe some other option, I can actually have that there. But I'm going to click OK on that. And of course, with the last one, we've got a drop down. So we're going to go to field options, and we're going to create a select drop down, and the options are call me back, email me. How would you like to hear back? So it's got some basic, I keep doing that for some reason, hear back. All right, so we've got our little form put together. I'm going to tick, and I'm going to basically publish this. And then we're going to exit the visual builder so we can take a look at the form. So you see here, our radio buttons haven't shown up at all. So I do put my name in here, and I choose this information. I tick Facebook, blogging, I untick these two, I click Instagram. We then get our option to choose between the two. I untick it, it disappears. So that's how the conditional logic works. And also I can choose this little drop down here. I can continue to build this form down the page as I want to, and basically get a really full-on, really comprehensive form if I'd like to. And the conditional logic just allows you to further customize it based on the information people are already getting you. So that is the basic function of the Divi form. Obviously, I mean, you can scratch and look for more, but that is pretty much it. That's pretty much how you can create a form, and for as big or as little a form as you want to. Now I'm going to go back into the visual builder and I'm going to have a look at some of the styles, because you can create some pretty cool effects with the form also. So we're going to head back in here. So let's, for some reason, Divi likes to load twice whenever I use it. I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. But we've got everything set up here. So let's say, so we've got our fields. We can change a few options here. I can make the background color blue if I want to, which is definitely not recommended. Or I can make them white. But you notice now we can't tell the difference between it and the background. And we can make the form focus field yellow. So if I click on name, it becomes yellow. Phone becomes yellow. Not the best looking, but we'll leave it there for now. And the focus text color red. So it's red now. So you do get a few little options like that. Now the field's text color is good the way it is, so I'm just going to leave it. But I might actually just reset this back to normal. Just showing you how that works. Now you can actually, in order for us to see exactly what's going on, I'm going to go skip all this information and add a shadow. Whoop, no text shadow. Go down. Now there is an area here you can add borders, but either way, let's just make this a grey color for now. So we've got our field colors as grey. Now if I head on, I'm sort of darting back and forth a little bit here. Scroll down, we've got fields margin. I can actually create a margin above each field of 50 pixels if I want to. Now that's a bit extreme, but it shows you just what you can do. If you want to create more space between fields, I will reset that. Or I can increase the padding and make it say 20, so that we get sort of like patio looking input fields, or 0. So we get basically next to nothing. So we go 0, 0, 0. So we get these really ugly looking ones. Or we can go 20 and really beef them all up, make them look absolutely huge. So we get these massive fields you can type into. And you can also change the text size if you want to, make it bigger, smaller, change the font. So let's go to something completely different. So you see there that doesn't look too great, but you get the idea. We'll head back to default. So you can fully customize the look of the form as well. Now you can see here we've got text shadow, but I do want to go past that. Because I do believe there is a section somewhere for the actual field border, although I could be wrong. But box shadow, that's the one we're after. So let's say I add in this shadow here. I go back up the top to fields and make that background color white. We can actually just simply add a shadow behind that form to create a pretty nifty effect. So I'll go back down to box shadow and we can play with those settings, move the shadow around, change the blur strength. We can change that vertical position so that it's a bit closer, and we can do it that way. You have an outer shadow or even an inner shadow, so it looks like it's actually cut in to the page. So that's a nifty effect you can play with as well. Now the border is actually the one I find more interesting, so I'm going to turn that off and head up to border, because we can have the entire border be black and make it 1 pixel. But what happens if we want to do something a little fancier? Have you seen those websites before where maybe we have just an underline? So we're going to turn that off, and over here we're going to click on the bottom line and simply make that 1 pixel. And now we get this cool little underline effect. The only issue is it shows up the same down here, but that's still not a huge deal. Now what we can do to further customize this is if we go back over to content, scroll down to our background section here. If I want to make the background black, I'm going to tick that. I'm going to make the whole row background black. As you can see, we can't actually see any of the text on here, so I'm going to head over to design, text, we've got title text. We're going to make that white, and then we're going to go down to, now some of this text missing down here, so I'm going to go to fields, fields text color. If I make that white, it actually doesn't work across the board. We get this nice little switch. So that's a bit of a funny setting. I'm not exactly sure what you do about that, but what you can do instead, we're going to leave that text as white, and you can make the background color a gray if you want it to be nice against that, but let's make it black. So now we have this cool black looking form. We can go back down to our border, make that border color white, so we get this cool white looking form, and then maybe we decide we go back to the fields, and with the background color we just make it slightly lighter, and we can then also add in our shadows, and you can start to get a pretty cool effect if this is something that you're wanting to do. You can add it white, although white looks a bit ugly, so we'll just go. So yeah, we can create this cool little effect. So you do get like pretty cool looking effect there. The other cool thing about the border is if I decide to go to the top, I can make the top yellow and get another cool effect there. You've got white at the bottom, yellow on the top. So you sort of get the idea of how far you can actually customize this form to get it looking the way you want. I've sort of been a little bit haphazard about the way I've displayed this, but you get the idea. And the thing is, on top of the options I've shown you, you can also do things like customize the button. So if I go to button, use custom styles, I can make that text color white. The background color could be some crazy yellow or red. You can really do what you want with it. Change the border radius to so it's circled. So you've got a lot of options to style this form the way you want also. Now this isn't the best looking form, but you can see what's possible, and yeah, I think that's a pretty nifty sort of feature. So I mean, that's pretty much it for that video today. The other bits and pieces there are they're going to be pretty minor in comparison, but being able to understand that information is going to be handy. Now, one thing I have noticed is that some of this information here is still showing up black, so I'm not exactly sure what you do about that. Usually there is a section on these here that will say something along the lines of color. Do you want it to be dark or do you want it to be light colored text, depending on the background? Unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be here at the moment. But with a few design cues, you can do that, or you can go into your custom CSS, your main element, and just type in color, $FFF for white, and get that white color to pop up. So that's another way of doing it too. Pretty basic, but yeah, another way to work around that. So there you go. That is playing around with the contact form in the Divi Builder. So I hope you found that video useful. I am working on more tutorials for Divi, so if you want more of that, please consider subscribing. I'm going to be working on building a contact page, a few different page types, as well as adding some downloadable templates of those, so you can download those for free. So yeah, please subscribe if you want to see those videos in the future. Otherwise, if there's anything else you want to see in Divi, please leave a comment below. Let me know what you'd like to see me do, if you have any information there that you're looking to learn about the Divi Builder. Like I said, I'm a web designer. I've built close to 100 websites with this theme. So yeah, hopefully I can help you out with whatever it is you're looking for. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day. Don't forget to like the video if you like it. Otherwise, yeah, I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.